And this is hopefully a useful video blog. Yeah, I know, it's funny. I don't like the term blog because, I mean, I was writing stuff on the internet years before the word blog was introduced. However, being as that's what the kids are calling it these days, it's a vlog, but hopefully this is a really useful one. It concerns what exactly is it? A Linksys BEFSR41 router, and I'm sure depending on your model of router, your mileage may vary. Many of you are probably familiar with the dead Linky complex. That's where you have a Linksys router where one day you turn it on and the red diagnostic light stays on, and that's it. You can't log into it. You can't do anything with it. There are a couple of tricks to fix this. The first and easiest one is to hold the reset button for 30 seconds, then release the reset button, remove power for 5 seconds, and then plug it back in. A lot of times that'll fix it. The other method is, if you absolutely can't get it to work that way, is you can try to reload the firmware onto it via TFTP. And that's beyond the scope of this vlog. You can look that up. Specifically on Google, look up the phrase dead Linky, L-I-N-K-Y. And you should be able to find some information. But that deals with the symptoms, and usually it's part of a bigger problem. You can also look up on Google the exact phrase capacitor plague. That concerns a whole bunch of industrial espionage, and the capacitor formula was stolen by one company. It was incomplete, and it caused a whole bunch of bad capacitors to be shipped out on motherboards for various different computers. Apparently, as I have discovered tonight, this also applies to Linksys routers. This Linksys router, which I have now disassembled, and unfortunately I've voided the warranty, as you probably can't read on that label there. I've taken this Linksys router apart, hopefully going to try to find some kind of thing that's obviously wrong with it, metal filing or something across some contacts. I'm trying to put it in the light here so you can see it a little better. These two capacitors here, which you may not be able to see very easily here, maybe if I switch my camera's focus thing here. Yeah, you can see there's a slight bulge on top of these capacitors. That's because they're bad and they're about to blow. This leads to the Linksys router wanting to not behave properly, basically. Let's switch my focus back here. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to unsolder those two capacitors and replace them with two comparable capacitors. Now I'm going to switch my focus back so we can get the detailed view. I don't know how readable this is going to be, even in the light. But these two particular capacitors are 16-volt, 1,000 microfarad, which I guess is 1 farad. Can't really see it too well. Anyway, I'm going to look through my limitless stores of secondhand electronical components. Yes, I intentionally mispronounced that word. To find some capacitors that will work, and then I'm going to solder them onto the board. So that'll be in the next segment of this vlog, as it were. All right. All right, the imposing haunted house here, where we keep a lot of our secondhand stuff. Oh my God, it's an Apple monitor. This is like a treasure trove of ancient technology. Got an old Gateway laptop here, and oh my God, an iMac and a G4 Power Mac. Holy crap! Anyway, this camera is throwing a lot of light on everything, but for some reason it's just not showing up in the video. So I'm going to carefully inspect what we have here. See if I can find some capacitors that are comparable to what I need. Generally, you want about the same capacitance rating. See, I fixed the Dell. I have no idea if I'm showing up or not, if my scary face is showing up on the video. Generally, you want to find about the same capacitance and the same voltage or higher. Had to replace some 1800 microfarads on capacitors on a Dell motherboard. 1500 microfarads was good enough, so that's what I did, because that was what I had available. In this case, I believe I have seen some 1,000 microfarad capacitors recently. So using the light of the camera, even if you can't see it, I'm going to start looking across here and see what I've got. Not looking too promising. I've already forgotten what voltage I'm looking for. How sad is that? I think it's 16 volts. Of course, I can replay the video for myself. I don't believe I have any of those available here at the moment on this board. So we'll go to another board. Yes, I have a whole stack of motherboards in storage. How sad is that? How much of a geek does that make me? Don't answer that. 16 volt, 470 microfarad, probably not going to be good enough. So what do we got next? Whew. What's our rating on this? 6.3 volts, 1500. That wouldn't be good enough. 16 volts, 1200. I'll keep this board in mind because a 16 volt 1200 may be close enough for it to work. What is this one? 6.3 volts, 1000 microfarads. May have to make do with the 1200 the 1200 microfarads, but we'll see. 16 volt, 1500. So we got a couple of candidates here. I'll keep those in mind. I'll take them in with me, and hopefully that'll be close enough. We'll make this Linksys router work. All right, so here's what we've got right now. Some old Hewlett-Packard motherboard that died a while back. I don't remember what exactly was wrong with it, but it just quit working. And it's got a bunch of 16 volt, 1200 microfarad capacitors on it. I got 7 of them to choose from. And I'm going to start unsoldering 2 of them. Probably these 2. They look like they'd be easy to get to. Then I will unsolder the 16 volt, 1000 microfarads from this Linksys board. Then I will put the 1200 microfarads onto the Linksys board. And there we are. This ought to be fun. I'm a big fan of the Radio Shack butane soldering iron. It doesn't have to be Radio Shack. I just like the fact that it's butane. It's basically like a little torch, but with a soldering iron tip on it. Okay, I've now extracted 2 16 volt 1200 microfarad. There you go. You can read those numbers. 16 volt 1200 microfarad capacitors from those 2 spots there. These little empty sockets here. All these other capacitors I thought I had at my disposal were all 1500 microfarads, and I wasn't going to go that far afield of the original 1000. These are the 2 1000s I pulled off of the Linksys, and there's where they were. Now, for those of you who haven't had elementary electronic classes and don't know the difference, there are 2 types of capacitors, well, that I know of. Ceramic and electrolytic. These little canister types are electrolytic. And that means you have to be very careful. Well, not really careful, but you have to have at least a average IQ and make sure that you put the negative where it's supposed to go and the positive where it's supposed to go, because ceramic capacitors, they don't care. They don't have a polarity. Electrolytic capacitors, they do have a polarity, and if you wire them up backwards, they explode very quickly. And then you're left with, a ruined capacitor. I'm now going to solder these 2 capacitors onto these 2 spots on this board. And then we'll see if my Linksys router works.